Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we explore one of the most fascinating and mysterious stories in the world of American coinage, the tale of the 1974 D1 dime that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and treasure seekers alike because of its unbelievable value of $17 million, a number so staggering that it makes people wonder how something with a face value of only 10 cents could ever be worth such a fortune. The story of this coin is not just about a piece of metal struck by the Denver Mint in 1974, but about the endless possibilities, the errors, mistakes, and mint mark anomalies that turn ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures, and how these hidden gems continue to remind us that even the smallest pocket change can hold secrets worth millions. To understand why the 1974 D dime has become such a legendary piece, we first need to think about the historical context of the coin itself. In 1974, the United States was in a time of transition. The economy was under pressure, inflation was rising, and people were paying closer attention to their money than ever before. The dime itself, bearing the image of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, an oak branch design on the reverse, had been in circulation since 1946. By the mid-1970s, millions upon millions of these dimes had been struck and distributed, making them one of the most common coins in America. But within that massive production, mistakes, rare errors, and minting anomalies crept in, and it is these errors that sometimes transform a simple dime into a one-of-a-kind treasure. When we talk about mint errors, we're looking at everything from double strikes to off-center strikes, clipped planchets, missing elements, and misplaced mint marks. The Denver Mint, like all U.S. mints, had high standards, but mistakes still happened. Some of these mistakes were quickly caught and destroyed, but others escaped into circulation. Over time, these rare survivors have become some of the most valuable collectibles in existence. The 1974 D dime, valued at $17 million, is believed to be one of those survivors, carrying within its small surface the evidence of unique minting errors that set it apart from the countless ordinary dimes of its time. Collectors have always been fascinated with the D mint mark, which signifies that the coin was struck in Denver. Mint mark anomalies are particularly valuable when they are misstamped, doubled, misplaced, or completely missing. The 1974 D dime is associated with reports of mint mark irregularities where the D was either punched in the wrong location, appeared multiple times, or was faint to the point of being nearly invisible. These variations in mint marks are extremely important in the world of numismatics because they point to human involvement in the minting process, which was not fully automated at that time. Errors in the placement of mint marks often make the difference between a common dime worth 10 cents and a rare specimen worth millions. Another reason the 1974 D dime has reached legendary status is the possibility of transitional errors. In U.S. coinage history, transitional errors occur when a coin is accidentally struck using planchets intended for a different year or denomination. For example, a dime struck on a quarter planchet, or a dime struck in silver years after the composition had changed, becomes an incredible rarity. By 1974, U.S. dimes were no longer struck in silver but rather in a copper-nickel-clad composition. If even a handful of 1974 D dimes were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964 or on foreign planchets being used at the mint, their rarity and value would skyrocket. Collectors suspect that such possibilities may account for why one specific 1974 D dime has been given an astronomical value of $17 million. The excitement also comes from double die errors. A double die occurs when the die itself is improperly manufactured, causing the coin to show doubling in its design elements. On a dime, this might appear in the lettering of Liberty, In God We Trust, the date, or even the mint mark. Some reports suggest that the 1974 D dime in question shows strong doubling, which, if true, would make it a highly desirable piece. Double dies are particularly loved by collectors because they are dramatic and easily seen without magnification, which makes them both exciting and accessible to enthusiasts of all levels. The valuation of $17 million for this particular dime is not just about the error itself but also about the combination of rarity, demand, and story. Coin collectors are drawn to unique pieces, and when a coin is verified to be one of a kind, its value is essentially limitless. Imagine the thrill of knowing you hold in your hand a dime unlike any other in the world, a dime that no other collector can claim. That sense of exclusivity drives prices to incredible heights. Auctions have shown time and again that rare coins with dramatic errors can fetch record-breaking prices, and the 1974 D-dime is a shining example of this phenomenon. But beyond the specific errors and anomalies, what makes the story of the 1974 D-dime so captivating is the possibility that many other rare errors from that year may still be out there, waiting to be discovered. Every day, people handle dimes without thinking twice about them. They pass through hands, vending machines, cash registers, and pockets, yet within that flow of everyday life, there may still be undiscovered treasures worth millions. The mere thought that someone could find such a coin in their loose change or tucked away in a forgotten jar makes the hunt for rare coins irresistible. The Denver Mint in the 1970s was a bustling facility, producing millions of coins daily. Despite rigorous quality control, the sheer volume of production meant that errors occasionally slipped through. Some collectors argue that 1974 was a particularly interesting year because of the transition in minting technologies and the high demand for coinage. The combination of human oversight, machine errors, and transitional circumstances provided fertile ground for unusual minting mistakes, and the 1974 D-dime is believed to be one of the crown jewels of these mistakes. To appreciate the value, one must also consider the psychology of collecting. Rare coins are not just about metal content or face value, they are about history, rarity, and storytelling. A coin like the 1974 D-dime valued at $17 million is essentially a piece of American history captured in metal. It tells the story of mint workers, of technology, of oversight, of chance, and of discovery. It connects ordinary people to extraordinary events, reminding us that even in mass production, uniqueness can emerge. Collectors who seek out the 1974 D-dime often speculate about what makes it so valuable beyond its minting anomalies. Some point to specific die cracks that formed unusual patterns, almost like fingerprints, on the surface of the coin. Others point to possible planchet defects that gave the coin a one-of-a-kind texture or weight. Still others suggest that a handful of experimental strikes or trial runs may have left behind test coins that accidentally entered circulation. Whatever the case, these theories only add to the allure and mystery, fueling the coin's myth and driving its valuation ever higher. Imagine, for a moment, finding a 1974 D-dime in an old collection, a drawer, or a coin roll. At first glance, it might look like any other dime. But upon closer inspection, perhaps under magnification, you notice something unusual. The mint mark is doubled, the lettering is misaligned, or the weight feels off. In that moment, you realize you may be holding something worth far more than 10 cents. This possibility keeps collectors searching tirelessly, hunting through rolls of dimes, visiting coin shops, attending auctions, and trading among fellow enthusiasts. The dream of discovery is what makes numismatic such a captivating hobby. Even professional grading services have played a role in elevating the 1974 D-dime's fame. When a rare error coin is authenticated and graded at the highest levels, its value soars. The difference between a coin that is ungraded and one that has been officially certified by experts can be millions of dollars. Reports of a 1974 D-dime graded at the top of the scale, combined with its error features, have solidified its reputation as one of the most valuable modern dimes ever known. The $17 million price tag also reflects market dynamics. Wealthy collectors and investors often compete fiercely for the rarest coins, driving prices into the stratosphere. In this sense, coins become not just collectibles but also investments, assets that appreciate in value and hold cultural significance. For some, owning the rare 1974 D-dime is about more than money. It is about prestige, about owning a piece of history that no one else can possess. And this leads us to the wider implication: what other coins might be hiding similar treasures? If a dime from 1974 struck in Denver can reach $17 million in value, then perhaps pennies, nickels, quarters, or half dollars from the same era also hide secrets. Collectors are encouraged to examine every coin they encounter, because history has shown time and again that discoveries can be made in the most unexpected places. The narrative of the 1974 D-dime is as much about imagination as it is about fact. It demonstrates the thrill of the unknown, the idea that there could always be something more to discover, some hidden gem waiting to be recognized. For collectors, this dime is not only a rare coin but also a symbol of the endless possibilities in numismatics. It encourages curiosity. Today, as we take a deep dive into one of the most fascinating stories in American coinage history, the story of the 1985 P1 dime from the United States that has stunned collectors and historians with its incredible value reaching up to $14 million. What makes this tiny 10-cent coin so extraordinary is not simply its age or its general circulation, but rather the strange combination of minting errors, mistakes, and anomalies with its mint mark that transform an otherwise ordinary dime into one of the most desirable treasures in numismatic history. Today we will unravel the story of this coin, how it came into existence, why errors matter so much, how minting mistakes turn into multi-million-dollar collectibles, and what possibilities surround the 1985 P dime that make it so unique and so valuable. When we think of a dime, most of us picture a small silver-colored coin featuring President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, a design that has been in place since 1946. By 1985, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of dimes, most of them from Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint, where the 1985 P dime was struck, was responsible for enormous production numbers. The mint mark P signified its Philadelphia origin, which only began appearing on dimes in 1980. Prior to that, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark at all. So in 1985, seeing the P on a dime was still relatively new for collectors, and variations or errors with this mint mark immediately stood out to experts in the field. The value of $14 million tied to a 1985 P dime is not based on a single factor but on a web of different possibilities. To understand why, we need to look at the broader world of minting errors. Coins are produced in an industrial process that, while incredibly precise, is still prone to occasional mistakes. These mistakes are usually caught and destroyed, but every once in a while, an error coin slips through into circulation. Depending on the type of error, rarity, and demand, such coins can become worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. The 1985 P dime is one of those rare cases where the errors and anomalies surrounding the coin pushed it into the stratosphere of value, to the point where it is considered among the elite class of American coins. Let's explore what kinds of errors might have made this dime so valuable. One of the most striking possibilities involves double die errors. A double die occurs during the process of hubbing when the die that impresses the design onto a blank coin is struck more than once in a slightly misaligned way. This results in doubling of letters, numbers, or features of the coin. Imagine the word Liberty or the date 1985 appearing doubled or shifted on the coin. For collectors, this doubling represents a significant mistake and drives desirability. A strong double die error on a 1985 P dime would be incredibly rare and thus extremely valuable. Another possible error comes from off-center strikes. If the coin blank is not properly aligned in the press, the design may be struck off-center, leaving part of the coin blank and the rest bearing an incomplete design. Off-center strikes are fairly common in lower denominations, but finding one on a dime from the 1980s in near-perfect condition with a mint mark anomaly could make the coin extraordinarily desirable. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the rarer and more valuable it becomes, especially if important features such as the date and mint mark remain visible. Clipped planches are another error type that could apply to the 1985 P dime. A clipped planchette occurs when the blank piece of metal is improperly cut, leaving a crescent-shaped or irregular edge on the coin. Collectors place high value on clean and dramatic clipped planches, particularly when paired with other unusual features. Then there is the matter of mint mark anomalies. Because the Philadelphia mint mark was relatively new on dimes in 1985, any irregularity with it is significant. Some coins have repunched mint marks, where the P was punched more than once in slightly different positions. Others may have missing mint marks entirely, which can result from a filled die or other mishaps. A 1985 die missing its mint mark or bearing a strange variation of the P would immediately attract collectors' attention. Given the timing of the introduction of the P mint mark on dimes, these anomalies hold historic importance and rarity, increasing the potential value astronomically. Transitional errors are another factor to consider. These occur when a coin is struck on the wrong metal composition or with a planchette intended for another denomination. For example, a dime struck on a copper penny planchette or even on a foreign coin blank would be extremely rare. Imagine discovering a 1985 P dime weighing less or more than normal because it was mistakenly struck on a different metal. Such an error could alone justify multi-million-dollar valuations. Condition plays a crucial role as well. A coin from 1985 with heavy circulation wear would not normally command great value, even with minor errors. However, if a 1985 dime with these errors survived in pristine uncirculated or even proof-like condition, then its rarity combined with its state of preservation would send its value soaring. Coins graded at the highest levels, such as mint state 68 or 69 by professional grading services, are especially sought after, because so few survive in such condition. The story of the 1985 dime valued at $14 million also speaks to the psychology of collecting. Collectors are not only driven by the physical coin but by the narrative it carries. A dime from the 1980s is not ancient, nor is it made of precious metal like silver or gold. Its value lies entirely in its uniqueness, its survival against the odds, and the stories that experts and collectors attach to it. The idea that a small coin worth 10 cents in everyday life could reach a valuation higher than a mansion or a fleet of luxury cars ignites fascination and excitement in the numismatic community. It is also worth noting that coins like the 1985 dime are rarely encountered by ordinary people. Most of the time, these valuable error coins are discovered by collectors, dealers, or sharp-eyed individuals who happen to notice something unusual. Stories abound of people finding rare dimes or pennies in their pocket change, only to learn later that they were holding a treasure worth thousands or millions. The allure of such stories encourages more people to check their coins, creating a cycle of discovery and excitement. Beyond error types, there is the question of provenance. The history of who owned a coin, where it was found, and how it has been passed down can add intangible value. A 1985 dime with an error and a legendary backstory, perhaps discovered in an unexpected place or linked to a notable collection, would be even more valuable because collectors treasure not just the object but its journey through history. We also cannot ignore the role of auctions in driving up coin values. When a rare coin like the 1985 dime comes up for auction, competition among wealthy collectors often pushes the price far beyond initial estimates. The emotional intensity of bidding wars can elevate a coin's final price into the millions, as each collector sees the coin not only as an investment but as a unique piece of history that cannot be replicated. The 1985 dime, valued at $14 million, represents a perfect storm of conditions. A relatively modern coin struck during a period of high production somehow emerged with errors or anomalies so dramatic and so rare that it captured the imagination of the collecting world. It survived in exceptional condition, perhaps unnoticed for years until a sharp-eyed individual realized its significance. Once its rarity became known, demand among elite collectors skyrocketed, pushing its valuation into record-breaking territory. What makes this story even more powerful is that it highlights how the smallest details can matter enormously. A single misplaced mint mark, a tiny doubling of letters, or a shift in alignment could mean the difference between a coin being worth 10 cents or $10 million. This is the magic of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, where history, art, industry, and chance intersect in remarkable ways. For the 1985 dime, there is also speculation about varieties that may exist but have not yet been fully documented. In the world of coin collecting, new discoveries continue to surface even decades after coins are minted. It is possible that other examples of the 1985 dime with extraordinary errors are still out there, waiting to be found. The dream of discovering such a coin drives collectors to search through rolls of dimes, inherited collections, and even pocket change. As we continue to explore this coin, it is important to recognize how such values are determined. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play a vital role in authenticating coins, confirming errors, and assigning grades. Without this authentication, the claim of a coin being worth $14 million would not hold weight. But once a reputable grading company certifies a coin as genuine with a rare error in top condition, its market value becomes undeniable. The economic aspect of coin collecting cannot be overlooked either. Coins like the 1985 dime are not just collectibles but investments. Wealthy individuals purchase them as part of diversified portfolios, knowing that their rarity ensures long-term value. The limited supply and growing demand mean that once such a coin is off the market, its next appearance could be years or decades away, often at a much higher price. At the same time, coins like this capture public imagination because they symbolize hidden value in everyday